Health Nuts, episode 29.
You're listening to Health Nuts with Dr. Chris Carr. Making lifestyle changes is hard for many people, and not knowing what to do or how to do it makes the task all the more daunting. Here at Health Nuts, we focus on helping you live a fuller life by discussing everyday health issues and exploring breakthrough solutions on how to overcome them. And now, here's your host, Dr. Chris Carr.
Welcome back to another episode of Health Nuts. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Carr. Looking forward to having you on this week. I'm looking forward to hearing this message. And we have a great guest for you today coming out from LA, and that's Amanda Carneiro. She's a personal trainer, a fitness nutritionist, and a holistic health coach. She helps clients improve their health, develop sustainable habits, and achieve their goals to their best and most vibrant selves. Amanda has written for various health publications, is always developing another tasty recipe, and working with an impressive celebrity client list. She received her personal trainer certification through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, along with her women's fitness specialist and fitness nutrition certifications. She is also certified as an integrative health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and is a member of the International Association for Health Coaches. Today is going to be all about digestion, GI health, a little bit of intermittent fasting, as well as food combining. So we're going to have some different topics on that we haven't discussed in the past. Before we get to all those topics, Amanda, formally welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. Looking
forward to it. So that was more of the formal intro of you. You're in my old stomping grounds. How's everything going on out west?
It's good. It's a little chilly here. It's 40 degrees, so 45 degrees.
Yeah, my heart aches for you.
I know, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I know. So you've been out there you're from the East Coast, from the New York, Connecticut area, and then you ended up out west. How'd you end up out there?
Yeah, so I moved to Los Angeles to be an actor, of course, like everybody else, and kind of wanted to find a good job that I could make good money at and have a flexible schedule. So I kind of just fell into personal training, and then kind of used myself as a guinea pig. I was struggling with weight issues myself, digestion issues, used myself as a guinea pig, kind of cleaned up my diet, started working out, really incorporated movement into my life every day. And I loved it because not only because it gave me the body that I wanted, but when I took control of my health, everything else in my life improved. Relationships, my career improved. It's amazing what happens when you really put your health first.
Did you have an aha moment? Did you have an event that triggered this change, or you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired?
I think it was like I saw a photo of myself at somebody's wedding, and I was like, you travel through life and you're like, oh, I'm fine, I look fine, and then you see a photo and you see yourself from a different perspective, and I was like, wow, I've really gained a lot of weight, and this is not okay, and I really don't feel good anymore.
And then so through detox, through the lifestyle changes, you kind of created a new you.
Yes, exactly. And then from there, I wanted to help other people. So that's when I got my personal training certification. And then that's been kind of a progression of getting more into the holistic side of things and really looking at nutrition and other areas of life as well.
Yeah, it's ongoing. And I think it's the way that the society is slowly, I think California has always been somewhat ahead of the times compared to the rest of the country with going this route sooner than later. And I always look at what California is doing, at least in regards to health and wellness, just because they've always been a couple steps ahead of the rest of the country, where things kind of might have been shunned upon. What's practiced and accepted there is sooner than what happens most elsewhere in the country.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so much to learn every day. There's like a new study coming out about something, and it's an amazing place to be for sure in the wellness community.
Love it. So I always like to start these podcasts. I want to get just a personal affirmation off you, maybe something you teach your clients whenever someone's coming in that's struggling, or words of wisdom. What's something that stuck through you throughout the years?
One of the quotes that I really love is all disease begins in the gut. It's Hippocrates quote. And I love that because it's so true. I mean, now there's so much research also saying like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease is all like a gut-related disease, skin issues, anxiety, mood issues, depression, everything begins in the gut. So if we take care of our digestion, then we can take care of our health.
It's such a good segue because that's going to hit our topic with where we're going.
Yes.
And gut health is so important. They call it the second brain for a reason, because we know everything that's in your gut is going to affect your brain. So
absolutely.
I want to talk, I know we want to get into intermittent fasting. Before I get into there, maybe some of the foods. What foods are you telling your clients to add in? What are you telling them to remove?
Well, of course, we always want to start with vegetables. The more vegetables, the better. Fruits, vegetables are great to add into your diet. Some of the things we want to remove are definitely some inflammatory foods like gluten, some dairy, commercial meat even, that's you're going to be getting a ton of pesticides and hormones and antibiotics, which we really want to avoid to keep that gut healthy. And sugar's a big one, which I think a lot of people have big issue with. We're all so addicted to sugar. So getting off that sugar or replacing it with some healthier sugars like coconut sugar, honey, maple syrup, way better. And then eventually kind of getting off of those as well, for the most part. We don't want to be dogmatic and we don't want to be, 100% off everything all the time. But for the majority of the time, we want to stay off of that stuff. And then adding in some probiotics. So like probiotic foods, fermented vegetables, coconut yogurts, even like some kombuchas or miso. Fermented foods are definitely going to be super beneficial for increasing the good bacteria in the gut.
Yeah, I love those shares. You hit on a lot of it. And a lot of us, what we were thinking, at least years ago, is that the one white food you'd want to stay away from was salt. And what everything's transitioned to is actually, we salt, although is bad in many areas, it ends up being sugar, ends up being the primary issue. And it's not so much what I'm teaching clients, it's not so much the sugar that you're maybe putting in coffee or your tea, but it's in foods. What types of foods are you finding this hidden sugar in?
Oh, it's in everything. It's unreal. I've gone through periods where I'm like, I'm going to really just give up sugar 100% for like a week or 2 weeks and just do as a reset. And it's like, even in the health food products, ketchup, mustard, dressing, crackers, bread, it's in almost everything that's packaged.
Yeah, all those packaged foods, and the FDA they're recommending about 40 grams, I think, a day is what their recommendation is on their daily intake, which I still feel is really high. And we'll teach about 25 to 30 grams, and it's hard. It's trying to cut it out. It is, and like you said, you really, when you're eating bread, you're not thinking that you're eating sugar, but
right,
it's usually the second or third ingredient that's on there.
Absolutely. And savory, it's on a lot of, it's in sweet foods, of course, and it's also in so many savory foods as well. So yeah, it's a big one for sure.
When we're adding the veggies, taking out the white foods. When we're combining foods and foods we want to add together, maybe not eat together, what foods would you want to take maybe for your breakfast or your lunch? What would you want to eat together? And what would you definitely just run for the hills for?
And are you talking in terms of food combining or just in general? Yeah, so food combining, it's kind of a little bit of a controversial topic because there isn't quote unquote science around it. But I know when I practice it and when my clients practice it, they feel so much better. Energy increases, mood increases. They feel like your food's not sitting in your stomach for long periods of time. So some of the big thing is not combining your fruit with other foods. So if you're going to eat fruit, eat it on an empty stomach or eat it alone. A lot of people tend to go to fruit as a healthy dessert, but that's probably one of the worst things you could do because your food is sitting there in your stomach and then you're going to add fruit, which is very easily digested and moves through your system quickly. And now it's sitting there in your stomach fermenting, which can cause a lot of bloating, gas, digestive issues. So that's one of the big rules. And then another one is not combining your proteins and your starches. So let's say if you're going to have eggs for breakfast, then you wouldn't necessarily want to add a sweet potato or some rice. You kind of want to keep those separate. So if you're going to have protein for breakfast, then maybe having carbohydrates for dinner. So not combining those two at the same meal and giving yourself ample amount of time between those meals.
Mm-hmm. And that standard breakfast, as you know, it consists of eggs that are toxic, it can
Right.
of a pork with a bacon, and then you're gonna have your English muffin with it.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly.
And that's probably what 60% of the U.S. does.
Right. Or eggs on toast. Exactly. Absolutely. So we want to, and some people who have very strong digestions don't feel a difference, but I feel most of the people, we have very slow digestions and very sensitive digestive systems. So we do want to keep those separate. And I tell everybody, everything is not a hard, fast rule. It's like, try it out, experiment, do it for a week or 2 weeks and see how you feel. And then if you feel great, then keep doing it.
Yeah. It's because a lot of times folks will start various programs, a nutrition coaching program, a rehab program, and the society we're in, we want the results yesterday. And if we don't get them within 3 to 4 weeks, then they're like, you know what, this isn't working for me. And a lot of times we don't give it enough time for it to really work on our bodies. Yeah,
and that's the big thing, is staying consistent. Just keep at it, stay consistent, and eventually those results will start to come.
Who would you be training this? Who would you be passing this information on to? The person who's just maybe trying to lose the 5, 10, 15 pounds, someone who's trying to clear out, maybe if they have a gluten allergy. Who's the best candidate for something like this?
For sure, weight loss. I think it's the number one thing, especially if somebody's is having trouble losing weight. They've kind of tried everything, quote unquote, and they're just really struggling to lose those last few pounds, or even 20 pounds, 30 pounds. I think it's definitely good for those people, and I feel like it's good for everybody. Just increasing your energy and digestion, we can all use a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's because of especially this time of year, people are so off focus right now.
Yes, all the cookies.
There's cookies. And I do this for a living. I'm a wellness provider, been doing it for the past 14 years. And I've even had, hopefully some of my patients aren't listening to this, but they're, dropping off chocolate covered pretzels and various foods and goodies. And it's just not the way to go, especially this time of year when we find a reason. Everyone's looking for a reason to fall off a wagon, and really find a way to do it this time of year.
Absolutely. I was just at the gym this morning training clients, and there was a tray of sugar cookies. Like, I guess that's good for me. It's good for business.
Yeah,
keep people coming.
Keep you coming back. Good luck with that. So now, one of the other things which I really love that you do, which is intermittent fasting, and it's a protocol that I teach as well as part of our advanced program. Somebody who's maybe never heard of intermittent fasting before, what is it?
Well, it's basically condensing your eating window to a smaller amount of time. So, most people wake up first thing in the morning. What do? Is they eat breakfast. Before they even drink water, they're eating something. And then they're snacking while they're watching TV before they go to sleep. And maybe they're sleeping for 6 hours. And so they're basically only getting 6 hours or maybe 8 of giving their digestive systems a rest. Mm-hmm. So what I like to practice and tell clients is to kind of try to make that fasting window longer. So making sure we're not eating 3 to 4 hours before we go to sleep, right. And then waking up and maybe not eating right away, trying to push that breakfast a little bit longer. I always suggest at least 12 hours. So that would be 4 hours before you go to sleep, and then 8 hours of sleeping, and then you can have your breakfast. But if you really want to push it, or if that feels comfortable for you and you can continue to fast, ideally we wouldn't have normal breakfast at 6, 7, 8 a.m. We would maybe push it to 10 or 11 or noon, and kind of just maybe skip that meal and have a lunch and a dinner. We are so programmed to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner instead of actually listening to our bodies, mm-hmm. and saying, when am I hungry when I'm first waking up? Right. And especially with all these diets out there, where we're supposed to be eating every 2 to 3 hours, and this is what you should have for breakfast, and this is what you should have for lunch. And so we wake up, a lot of people who are trying to lose weight or just get healthy, and they say, well, I'm not really hungry, but this diet is telling me that I need to eat this breakfast, so I'm going to eat it. Right. But your body's not ready for it, and so we're creating more problems than we even started with. Yeah. So
it's such a good point, because it's a lot of times we feel that we have to eat, because we've been told for years that you have to eat breakfast, instead of the protocol, but pretty much you eat when you're hungry. And if you skip dinner, it's not the end of the world. You're going to be okay.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love that share, because it's one of the things I teach on in our advanced nutrition course is that, this 6 meals per day, it's really not attainable for a lot of people, especially those who are working 40 plus hours a week. It's dedication. It comes with a lot of meal planning, a lot of meal prepping. At least in my studies that I've done and the amount of time I've been doing this, is that a lot of people just aren't willing. They start off hot and heavy with it for the first 4 to 8 weeks, but 6 months down the road, I don't foresee a lot of them still doing it.
It's so much work to plan all those meals, especially if you're going to work and you have to bring all that stuff with you. And what's amazing about intermittent fasting or fasting in general is it's easy. You don't have to do anything, and it's free. You have to spend no money. It's amazing. That's
the best part.
Yeah, it's like you're saving money.
Yeah, it's such a good share. Now, with those, is there the time frame? Sometimes, I've seen in research people will do it for 5 days. Others will just skip Saturdays and Sundays. Others will just do it once a week. Do you have any kind of tried and true method that works best for you?
I think the best thing is to kind of listen to your body and see how you feel. Of course, if you're going to brunch on the weekends, maybe you want to do that, but then maybe you skip dinner that night that you go to, that you have an early meal, or you just listen to your body. Some days you're going to be hungrier than others. And on the days that you're not that hungry, practice it.
Yeah, I love it. So a couple other topics I don't want to get, I wanted to kind of pick your brain on, because I know how kind of what your background is and all what you've done. Things you could share with the audience. What makes you a health nut? Things you're doing from a day to day.
Oh man, so many things. I'm really into mushrooms, mushroom extracts right now. I start every morning with mushroom coffee. And I feel like that's very, very beneficial for so many things. I also end my day with mushrooms. I take some reishi at night to kind of help with sleep. I'm always trying something new. I was just laying on my bed of nails, which is kind of like an acupuncture mat. Have you seen those?
I have. Where'd you get it?
Bed of Nails.
Yeah, that's
the company.
That's the name of the company.
Yeah, and I've definitely struggle with anxiety and kind of like it's hard for me to focus sometimes. So just laying on that mat for 5 minutes, just sets me right back into balance. And I sometimes do it right before I go to sleep, and it helps me sleep so much.
That's awesome. And then you'll lay on that, and that's something you're doing on day-to-day lifestyle. Have you ever gone through how do you get your mind right every day? Do you do any type of mental focus or any type of mental preparation for the day before?
I've gone in and out of meditation. I think it's wonderful, and I think many people can benefit from it for sure. I just struggle with kind of staying in that practice. But for me, it's working out. It's going to the gym. I take 15 minutes before I work out to just foam roll and just kind of be quiet. So it's kind of my meditation. And then I take 15, 20 minutes after to stretch and just, again, be silent, no music, and just kind of breathe, get in touch with my breath, kind of set myself up for the day, think about everything else I need to get done, and just kind of relax.
Yeah, a lot of times when it comes to meditation, a lot of people think they transition and think you have to be trained in a type of meditation. A lot of times it'd be just your own quiet time and allowing your time, just a lot of personal perspective on what your day looks like and what's kind of put you at peace. So I love that, how you're doing that.
Absolutely. And it can be so many different things for different people. It doesn't have to be sitting and with your legs crossed and your eyes closed. It can be a walking meditation where you just, take a 15-minute walk or a 10-minute walk, or going to the gym, or whatever it is that, works for you.
Best advice you ever got? What was it?
Ooh, I always go back to this. I want to say Meryl Streep said it. She didn't give it to me directly, but I think I don't know if maybe she got it from somewhere else, but it's so simple, and it's start by starting, which I always go back to, especially for me, it's like with business work. It's so hard to kind of get started on a project, but just start by starting, do one little thing. And it's the same thing with weight loss and health. It doesn't have to be this magical moment. It's just, okay, today I'm going to eat some vegetables. I'm going to just have a salad before I have whatever else I'm going to have. Just start by starting. Do one little thing, go for a walk, go to the gym. Even if it's 10 minutes, do a little thing. And eventually those things will start to add up and you will complete the project, or you will get to your weight loss goal, or you will be so much healthier.
Yeah, I think for the perfectionists, a lot of times they just get stuck in not starting at all.
Yes.
And the analyticals are paralyzed. So I love that. Invaluable resource. What else? Anything you're reading currently? Any type of books? I'm a huge reader. I try to get through usually about a book a month. Is there anything that's on your radar?
One of a great book that I read about fasting is Jason Fung's book. It's called The Complete Guide to Fasting, which is pretty. So it's a great resource for anybody who's looking to delve into that. He also has another book called The Obesity Code, which is pretty great as well.
Yeah.
And then I really love Natalia Rose's books. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she really talks a lot about fasting also and food combining as well. And she has a book called The Raw Food Detox Diet, which is amazing. And then there's a book called Detox for Women, which is really great as well. And then some blogs that I kind of always go to are Dr. Mercola's blog. He's amazing. And then Dr. Axe's blog as well. A lot of information on there. Yeah,
they do tons. That's one of they're real big online. But I think one of the things they do is, they just disseminate just so much good info, and they throw a ton of it out there. And I same thing. I've been following Mercola. Dr. Josh actually used to be in one of our coaching groups that we were in years and years and years ago. But it's some of the information that they have is just really, really good. And it's nice having the internet because now you don't have to. you can really find a lot of information about what you're looking for right at the tips of your fingers.
Absolutely.
Somebody who's trying to find you, and if I'm not in LA anymore, so I know you have all your locals out there. I also know you do an online program as well. How do they go about finding you?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's rawfitnessandnutrition.com. I do blog over there, which is a lot of resources. And I'm also doing a group coaching. I'm not sure when this podcast will come out, but I'm doing a virtual group coaching program that starts on January 9th. So I'm not sure if we'll miss it or not, but I often do them, usually do them about every month or every other month. And then I'm very active on Instagram. That's kind of where I spend the majority of my time. Instagram posts and Instagram stories, and I'm very interactive with the people that follow me. So I try to answer as many questions as possible, try to help as many people, try to share as much information as possible and just get information out there so I can help more people.
Yeah, and that's actually how I came across Amanda. And for the audience out there, there'll be a link to her Insta account as well as to the blog in the show notes. So you can just click on that. It'll take you right through there. Give her a follow. And if you're looking for guidance, and if you're sick and tired, like we said earlier, sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want to get off your butt, reach out to her. She's one of the best we have around. So Amanda, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your message.
Thank you so much for having me. So it's great.
And to the audience, next week we'll catch you after the holidays. Have a blessed holiday season. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.
So, you've heard from the experts yourself this episode and have gotten some golden nuggets on health. There is so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to pghcw.com. Again, that's pghcw.com, and sign up for our newsletter where you'll receive free info on how to get and stay healthy. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Health Nuts with Dr. Chris Carr. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and please leave a review.